Chinese, but born in this nigga body? That's not funny. And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese. And everyone would get mad. Stop making that face. That's offensive. What? This is how I feel inside.
Hello, and welcome to My Point of View Movie Reviews. Now, today's review is the new Netflix original special comedy by Dave Chappelle titled Sticks and Stones. Now, 2 weeks ago when this trailer dropped out of nowhere, I was like, what? Dave Chappelle is back? Thank you, Jesus. The dude is a comedy genius. Even though he's still living, he's a comedy legend. And his comedy is always based on real life events, what's going on currently in the heat of the moment in society. He's under a lot of pressure, getting a lot of heat from the LBG community, plus those T's. They've been lighting his ass up. And you know what? He's a person who can deal with it. Whether your background, whether what your beliefs are, if you can't laugh at yourself, then you can't put pressure on somebody else not to tease you about being what you are or what you believe in. Trust me, blacks got it worse than anybody. I've been black a long time and I learned to deal with it. In fact, I laugh. Because you ever had a friend that told you some good jokes that was racial jokes about yourself? You're like, man, you know, I really shouldn't be laughing, but that shit is pretty damn funny. That's what Dave Chappelle does. As a matter of fact, years ago, like 15, 16 years ago, when he was doing the Dave Chappelle show, he had wrote a skit and he had the word faggot in it. And he comes from an era where faggot was widely used in the 80s and 90s, describing a gay gentleman. Or maybe even a gay woman. The word faggot was used a lot back then. He wrote a skit for his show, The Chappelle Show, on Comedy Central, where the program director called him into a meeting. And usually when he got called in by the program director, you was in trouble. And she said, Dave, you cannot use the word faggot on this network. He goes, why not? Because it's offensive. He goes, well, it's comedy. I say a lot of things that are offensive. Yes, but you're not gay, so you can't use it. He goes, okay, no problem. I take it out of the skit. He turns around, starts walking away, then he stops. Turns around and walks back. Excuse me. Okay, but I use the word nigga all the time on the Chappelle show, and that's okay. Well, Dave Chappelle, no, let me tell you something. I'm not a nigga. I just use it as a formation of delivery and make people laugh. And right then we start thinking about, it's time for me to get out of the Chappelle show. And that's the way society is. If you're not a certain type of person, then you can't talk about a certain type of person because you don't understand. Like, oh, I feel sorry for black people. Yeah, look, you know what it's like to be black, so shut the fuck up. And the LBG community plus T's feel the exact same way. But comedy crosses the barrier where it allows you to laugh at things that are obviously serious, and some people are obviously confused, are obviously finding out who they are, and if you can't laugh about it, then what's the sense of being a human being? And the shootings, he talks about that in a comedic way. A very serious subject, but a subject, nevertheless, you have to find some kind of remedy to make it better. And there's no way to prepare in schools for mass shootings. There's no way. We have drills and things like that. He was talking about with his kids. The kids like, look, Dad, we had a drill at Dad's school for shooting. He's like, look, when they're teaching you drills, how to survive a shooting, think about it. They're also teaching a person who's a shooter where you're going to be when they try to shoot your ass. Common sense. The show opened up with a bang. He opened up quoting Prince. Prince's 1999 song. I tried to run from my destruction, even though I didn't even care. And that's a lyric that stayed with him. And he's a big fan of Prince. And me, if you know me, man, you know I love Prince. His symbols on the back of my car. Absolutely adore Prince. What he was trying to relate to the audience was, way back then, Prince knew what was going on with society. Because people looked at Prince as a freak. Was he gay? Was he bi? Was he whatever? But Prince wore that with a badge of honor. He didn't care what people thought about it. Dude wore high heel boots and shit. Come on now. But he was a talented individual. He made you look at him and also surpass that by touching you with his music. That's what Prince was all about. I thought that was cool how you opened up quoting Prince. He also dealt with you know, how him and his wife get into fights, how he teases Chinese people. He also talked about how he first met Barack Obama and how he knew he was going to be president. He felt some kind of divine divinity when he seen that man speak. Like the lights from heaven came down. He looked like little black Jesus. He just knew he was going to be president. And this show, and I'm telling you, he touches every sore nerve possible. The Me Too movement, which is very, very prevalent right now in Hollywood and with women. He talked about that in a way that made a lot of sense. He talked about pro-abortion. He talked about being against abortion. He talked about everything, especially drugs. He really nailed it home on drugs. See, back in the 80s, crack was an epidemic. And a lot of black folks was on crack. I remember watching the news. Oh, these people are like monsters. They're like zombies. Oh, they're criminals. They're going to rob you. They're going to beat you up and kill you and take your purse. Well, the same thing's happening right now with white folks. And back then, white folks didn't care about black folks. So now, why should we care? What's this whole get about the subject of drugs? Because now white people are on that weird stuff, that booger sugar, and they're doing some weird shit. They look like zombies. He said in some places it look like no one gets enough sleep. He described them as zombies, like, oh. And white people are scared now. Oh my God, what's happening to little Johnny, little Sarah? Now you care because it's happening to the white folks. As Dave Chappelle says, the whites. And you know what? He said, I don't care. Figure it out. You're not monsters. You're not criminals, just like black people wasn't. Just learn to say no to drugs. I mean, dude is cold-blooded. Now, this wasn't, for me, particularly one of his funniest shows. It was more of his most educational shows. Don't get me wrong. I laughed quite a bit, had some good chuckles. It wasn't about laughing out loud for me. I wasn't gut-busting laughter. But what I noticed when I was watching him on stage, how he truly demands the stage, how he's in total control. I remember Dave Chappelle way back in the day when he was young and real skinny and awkward. He did a lot with his body back then. He was, you know, very showcasing like. But now he takes his time. He walks the stage like a lion. He interacts with his audience. And he's in total control. And his audiences are always diverse. He gets it. Whites, blacks, Asian, Hispanic, the whole spectrum. And people in the audience were just watching comedy gold at its finest. And thank God for Netflix, man. Always there for comedy, because in order to deal with these times that we have in life, you need a good comedian to bring it home, to laugh at yourself and also the problems we live in today's society. And then one thing I liked about the ending of the show, he's a big fan of hip hop, and the show closed out with a classic song from Kendrick Lamar. And as the credits were rolling, he had all these great black and white pictures that would show up on the screen. Whenever the bass would boom, 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 the picture would move, boom, 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 with the bass. It was a really cool effect. And then the song faded out by Kendrick Lamar. Then he started playing 1999 by Prince. He opened up with Prince and he closed the show with Prince. It was amazing. The show's like an hour and 5 minutes. And then right afterwards was an epilogue. Another 20 minutes of comedy came on. Now with the epilogue, what he did, it was all in black and white. And all over the United States, places he performed, he came back out on stage and interacted with the audience. He goes, look, if I offended you tonight, it's your chance to tell me to my face how you feel. If you want to ask me any question about what I like or dislike in life, now's your chance to ask me right here to my face. And it was cool to see people interact with Dave Chappelle. He didn't shy away from anything. And a lady that he met in San Francisco at one of his shows, she was definitely a T, transgender, and she was laughing and laughing. And even when he was about to do the transgender joke, he was like, man, I don't know if I need to do this or not, but he did them. And she laughed even harder when it came to the trans jokes, right? And when he found out, after the show was over, everybody had left, the lady stayed at the bar and waited and said, Dave, come have a beer with me, come have a drink with me. And they had a great long talk, and she said, you know what? I appreciate your brand of comedy. I like the way you humanize things. R. Kelly. The reason why R. Kelly's in jail now because you helped humanize him. And the thing with me, I'm part of the transgender community. And what I don't understand about people who don't like you, you humanize what we are, which I appreciate. And Daphne, she was trying to be a comedian. She was asking for advice. It was really, really cool. And after this segment was over, for the epilogue, everything that he talked about are persons, he brought their picture. And he put a picture of Daphne, who was once a man, who is now a woman, and they became great friends. I thought that was really cool. Dave Chappelle does a lot of good, man. And his comedy is abrasive. It could be offensive. But that's what made the Chappelle Show popular 15 years ago. And that's why he's still rocking the mic the way he does all these years later. He started doing stand-up when he was 14, and he's still going strong. If you talk to any other comedian, Dave Chappelle has no weakness. They will tell you Dave Chappelle is probably the best to ever have done it, besides maybe Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor and a few others. So if you have Netflix, do yourself a favor and check out Sticks and Stones by Dave Chappelle. You will not be disappointed. Now, if you don't like Dave Chappelle, don't bother to watch it because you're going to try to bash it anyway. But see a man at his craft, at his very best, walking back and forth on the stage, dropping hints and lines about society and comedy greatness at his best. Dave Chappelle. Check it out. Sticks and Stones might break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Until the next time, like, share, and subscribe, and leave the comments down low. And as always, it's just my point of view. Hello. Now, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Without you, there's no me. And do us a favor, stop by the website at www.blacktastic.net and pick up some merchandise. Get yourself a hat or pick up a t-shirt. It's things like that that help keep the channel going. And also, feel free to leave a donation on the home page at www.blacktastic.net. Thank you all so much. Again, you make this so much fun. Without you, there's no me. Until next time, see you later.